All right, everybody, we're going to try this video again. We first did this video at another location, and this time I'm just going to do it in this new location. A little less distractions. All right, the purpose of this video is I want to make people aware of the fact that many times you'll hear the media like MSNBC, CNN talk about the Charlottesville riots, which occurred August the 12th, 2017. Okay, a lady named Heather Heyer passed away. She was hit by a white supremacist. The white supremacists were rallying in Charlottesville. Now, Charlottesville has a big university on it, a very liberal university. The area of Charlottesville is a pretty liberal place. Now, the people who were the white supremacists who helped organize this rally was Jason Kessler and Richard Spencer. Both of them are white nationalists. Now, the thing that you need to realize is that you have to ask yourself who organized this rally in the first place. Was it Republicans? Was it Trump? Was it just Trump supporters who did it? No, absolutely not. The people who actually did this rally and who organized this rally were Democrats. That's right. Democrats organized the white supremacist rally. Did you know that? So why in the world are you voting Democrat when you realize they actually did this rally? The reason why I can tell you this is because the organizer of the event was Jason Kessler. Jason Kessler was an Occupy Wall Street activist, one of the leaders of the Occupy Wall Street activism. And the whole purpose of Occupy Wall Street was to create imagery to go against Mitt Romney. Now, Mitt Romney is a Republican president, but here you have a guy named Jason Kessler who was an Obama supporter. He actually voted for Obama both times, and he supported Hillary Clinton. And once Hillary Clinton lost, guess what he turned into? You guessed it, a white supremacist. It seems like the best way for the Democrats to go is to pretend like they're a bunch of racists and act like they're racist. Now, the Democrat Party has a history of racism, but the reality is that Jason Kessler was a Democrat. So now why would the Democrat Party create and organize a white supremacist march? Well, simply put, is that the Democrat Party does a lot of acting, play acting. They want to pretend like they are the other side. Jason Kessler, Richard Spencer, the white supremacists, you'll see them on MSNBC, CNN, being interviewed, talking about white supremacy and everything like that. And you know what? The Democrat media are so happy to promote them and promote their ideas because what they do, the Democrat leaders do, is they impugn Republicans and say Republicans are for Jason Kessler and everything. The reality is that the Democrat Party and the kind of government Democrats want, which is big government, they are similar, the white supremacists and the current Democrat Party. So what we got to understand is that you got to ask yourself again, okay, you got the Democrat Party supporting white supremacists, supporting and organizing the group just to create imagery that will impugn Republicans. Is that the kind of party that you want to support? Parties that say that they love black people, but they're organizing white supremacy rallies? It's a party that wants the black vote today, even though they're the party that created the Ku Klux Klan. They have a long history of white supremacy. And it seems to me that that they would go all their way out to pretend or act like they're white supremacists and support white supremacy just to create imagery is horrendous. The reason why it's horrendous is because somebody died, a lady named Heather Heyer. And you see the Democrats were saying, oh, we're so thankful for your sacrifice. Oh, your sacrifice meant like her death was not in vain. And as I said before in the other video, I'm going to redo this video. This is my second time doing this video. Is that they would sacrifice innocent women. That's right, Heather Heyer. They had all these rallies. They had these candlelight visuals of this poor lady who died in this rally by a white supremacist now, who drove a car into a crowd of people. Horrible, horrible incident. It should never have happened. The reason why it should never have happened is the Democrats should never have organized a rally in the first place. Why in the world would you want to vote for a party that uses human life like collateral damage just to push a narrative to blame Trump as racist? just to blame Republicans for something that they didn't do. Why would you want to vote for a party like that? You got to ask yourself, why would you want to vote for a Democrat party that would give high-powered rifles to drug cartels? And then those high-powered rifles were used to kill and maim and massacre Latinos all throughout South America. That was the Fast and Furious scandal. Why would you want to vote for a Democrat party that actually organized white supremacist rallies just to create imagery of what Republicans and conservatives were not in the first place? They wanted you to believe a false narrative, just a lie that, oh, we got to create the imagery that Trump is racist. That was their stunt. Every 4 years, the Democrats have another stunt they play. They play act. They had Occupy Wall Street. They play act and they create other types of imagery, like say the Me Too movement. They did that against Trump because they thought Trump was a person who hated women and things or hated minorities. So they create all this false imagery just to attack Donald Trump. You got to understand that this is what the Democrats will go through. They will use the shootings of a college students, by, mind you, very liberal, very radical leftists, and they'll use it to push gun control of law-abiding citizens. Now that should concern you. This is the new Democrat Party. You know what the new Democrat Party is? It's a party that supports MS-13, one of the most violent gangs in the history of America. You talk about these people bring machetes and they chop people up. They do this in South America. Just look up MS-13, look at the violence that they commit on people, and that you'll see that that's the kind of gang that Democrats are coddling to right now. Literally, Nancy Pelosi said that, oh, there's nothing wrong with MS-13. They're just little children. She made light of the whole thing. In fact, then you have the leader of the Democrat Party. What's his name? Tom Perez, who's a communist. Did you know that? Yeah, Tom Perez is an actual communist. And he's now taking over leadership of the Democrat Party. This is not, you got to understand, folks, this is not your daddy's, your mama's Democrat Party of the past. This is not the Democrat Party of John F. Kennedy. In fact, this is the Democrat Party that killed and assassinated John F. Kennedy. That's what you have here. You have a party that's in lockstep with not only John Wilkes Booth, but you got a party that would actually assassinate your own president. Whose celebrities, you hear them talk about, man, I wish someone would assassinate Donald Trump. I wish. They're saying this right now. These are actors. These are people who are Democrats who are part of the Democrat Party. And they're saying stuff like that. I'm hearing college students talking about the president needs to be killed and assassinated. That's ridiculous. That's a terrorist statement. That's treason. But these are the Democrats that people are electing to power right now. These are the ones who are taking command and leadership over the Democrat Party. These kind of Democrats want socialism. They want communism. They want total government control. They want to take away your guns, the law of law-abiding citizens. And they are willing to literally use the violence of extremists, the violence of terrorists, and use it as an argument for taking away the guns of law-abiding citizens. This is how extreme the Democrat Party is. They're so extreme that they would block funds. This is what they did during the Bush administration, and they still do it today under Trump's administration. They were trying to, if the Democrats take control over Congress, this is how bad it is. If you got sons, daughters, nephews who are in the military, if you have them in the military right now, you should be alarmed that anyone would vote Democrat, because these are the same Democrats who are willing to prevent funding for our troops. Socialist healthcare system. They were so interested in hating our troops, making sure that, okay, Bush, you love your little troops. Well, in order for you to get your funding for your troops, you've got to sign this legislation for a massive tax increase on the American people. And by the way, we want a socialized medicine so that government can determine who lives and who dies. And you want to give the government that much power over your grandparents, over your parents, over yourselves. You're going to allow people to have socialized medicine so they basically, your government can decide, okay, you are a socialist progressive, you're going to make sure you get some good health care. You're Republican, we're going to make sure that you get some stank health care system, and it won't cover charge you for it. They did that to the young people with Obamacare. You had all these young college students, global college students, wanting Obamacare. Oh, we got to preserve Obamacare. But you know what? Obamacare didn't cover hardly anything for them. It caused their taxes to be raised so they can pay for the health care people who never took care of their own bodies. And so these young people, these college students were all gullible enough to support Obama, and many of them learned about Obamacare, how bad it was, and that's why people did not want it. Why are you going to want something that's going to raise your taxes, that's going to ultimately destroy Medicare, Medicaid? Will destroy Social Security and Medicaid. This is what Trump was saying. Trump was saying that we're going to preserve Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid by and through economic growth. That's the solution. That's the solution to the problem, so that are the growth of our economy on all these things. It doesn't have to come out for the taxpayers' dollars. It could come through GDP and other things too. You see, Democrats, all they think about is raising your taxes. You want your taxes to be raised? You want to listen to the bullies and the media and the entertainment community and the Hollywood elites? They're all pushing for Democrats. Have you ever wondered why that's the case? Every time you turn on your TV, every comedian, all the I can't name them all, but basically there are 10 major comedians. Every single one of them, including at 11th, Jim Carrey has the newest one. They're all pushing for socialism. They're all pushing for a form of communism. Why is that? Why are they pushing for the very type of government that we went to war against? Have you ever asked yourself that? You got Jane Fonda in the days of the 70s. She's an actress, and like Reagan was saying, in the past, Hollywood has been taken over by the communist agenda. The communists run Hollywood. The big celebrities, because they know, the KGB understands that America is an entertainment-driven type of nation. All you got to do is get these people watching the celebrities and let them listen to the celebrities like Madonna, Jim Carrey, name your celebrities, Jay-Z, Beyonce. All of them are supporting the socialist, progressive, believe in big government, because ultimately it's a big system. You've got to realize that who are those Hollywood celebrities in the first place? Who are they? They are millionaires and billionaires. And you want them to decide for you just because they're popular and they got a lot of media attention? No. You want to get a government that's a constitutional government. So young people, let's put it this way to you. You want to respond to you, not a government that's going to tell you everything that you need, that has economic freedom, and that's what you want. You want a constitutional government, a limited government, and that's why we vote Republican. We vote Republican because we want a healthcare system that we can determine, that we have access to, and that will fund, where competition is involved with it. You don't want something that's handed down to you and mandated by government. You want to have a choice on what kind of healthcare system you want. You want a healthcare system from your own employer. You want to determine all of the details of that. And it's not going to happen if you have a socialist system, because there's going to be rationing, just like there is in other countries. And you're not going to like it. And people's lives will be in jeopardy. Even the guy who was overseeing Obamacare, he believed that there should be some sort of rationing, and the people who are older, he opened the door for basically euthanasia. The very person who was one of the people overseers of Obamacare, one of those major players in there, and he pushed for euthanasia. So you got a system where now womb, but they also now have a disregard for the elderly too. So you wanted to vote for a system as socialist? Well, there you got it. Do you realize that, and this is one more point I'll say, is that I lost the connection real quick. But if you read Mein Kampf, Hitler's Mein Kampf, and the DNC, the Democrat National Committee, you'll find out that everyone will be cheering. Watch that movie called Death of a Nation by Dinesh D'Souza. And you're going to find out, folks, that in that movie, example of what was in Mein Kampf, and it's almost word for word everything that's in the Democrat platform today. That's right. Not only do you have a Democrat Party that supports Antifa, who's the leader of the Democrat Party named Tom Perez, who's a communist, who said Antifa is a part of the Democrat Party. They're every bit a part of us, and we need to embrace Antifa. They're very violent people who burn down schools, who are destroying private property, who are bullying, who are beating up people just because they support the Constitution and liberty and freedom. This domestic terrorist organization, the leader of the Democrat Party supports. And if you read Mein Kampf, they were all elements that are in Mein Kampf and Hitler's Mein Kampf are within the Democrat Party platform today. This is not your mother's and father's Democrat Party. And you need to realize that, young people and older people. What has the Democrat Party done for those in the inner cities? Nothing. Those, like I said, and so we need, as the American side, okay, who am I going to vote for this time? Am I going to reward a party that gives high-power rifles to the drug cartels that's killed Latinos down in South America? Am I going to give that party my vote and realize that their agenda is just to literally the African-American vote, or I should say the unemployment rate for African-Americans is the lowest in history, as well as Latinos. Are we going to go back to the tired, old, failed policies of Obama, which is socialism, government control of everything, censorship of free speech? You're already, the technology companies are beginning to silence people's free speech right now. That's socialism. That's fascism. Right before your very eyes, fascism is in your midst. And all the Democrats can do is project their very own fascism, their very own specific acts of fascism by silencing freedom of speech, taking away your right to bear arms, taking away your economic freedom. Those are fascist points, and they're projecting it onto the very people who are not fascists, which are Republicans. The so-called anti-fascists, which is they call Antifa, are indeed the epitome of what fascism is. You know, the silencing of freedom of speech, freedom of thought. They don't even want you to think anymore. They just want you to emote and have emotions. You can't think with your feelings. Their system doesn't even deal with logic. It deals with just attacking people for not agreeing with them. Why can't they debate people? They can't debate people. They are just emotional, and they're bullying everybody. Is that the kind of government you want? Well, this election is very, very important. And I ask you, I'm asking every American, every young person who can vote in this election to vote Republican. Vote Republican, because you're going to be voting for the endurance of this great economy that we're having right now. Vote Republican because you believe in freedom. Vote Republican because you don't believe government should take away your right to bear arms. You vote Republican because you believe in private health care, where you can determine what kind of health policy you want for yourself. Vote Republican because you won't want a government that picks the winners and losers of business. Vote Republican because you don't want a socialist form of government. Vote Republican because you don't want government colluding with the richest of the rich, which is what socialism does. It's basically state capitalism, where basically you've got these rich people on top, and they make all the decisions. They're making money off of government. You know, they don't want to sell things to the average person. They don't want to compete. They are a monopoly. That's the thing about socialism. It doesn't, you think that it's going to help the poor or the needy? No, it's an equal opportunity destroyer. It is a monopoly. You talk about, the evil corpse and the monopolies and everything. Well, that's communism. That's basically what you're talking about. You're talking about a public utility of everything. Everything's a public utility. And basically you don't have much freedom. Socialism is going to destroy this nation. And it's the very reason why people come to America is to avoid socialist countries. You don't see people leaving America to go to socialist countries. Then Hollywood elites will go down to Venezuela. And I assure you, they don't want to be in Venezuela where people are eating their own pets and the zoo animals right now, because the economy's a wreck. It destroyed everything. They thought Venezuela's economy was once a great booming place. And Bernie Sanders once praised Venezuela's leader, the current leader right now, for all the advancements of socialism, only to find out that their whole economy collapsed. The whole thing is a dismal failure. And even the examples of socialist countries they think that are working are really not socialist countries. They're basically countries with high, heavy regulations, like Sweden and Finland and those kind of countries. They just have high regulations and very high taxes, and people can't really get ahead in those countries. All right, but they use those examples, but those are not really socialist countries. Those are capitalist countries with high regulations, and the people are suffering. Many times there's rationing involved too with their healthcare system. So you got to understand, and Ben Shapiro is a very good speaker when it comes to revealing what socialism really is. So I encourage y'all to check out some of his videos. Ben Shapiro, he's more eloquent than I am, but I can at least point you to the right direction. Also, I would encourage you all to check out a website called magapill.com, and you'll find all the various accomplishments of Donald Trump and the Republicans. Okay, it's called Magapill, MAGAPILL.com. Check that out because you're going to enjoy that, and you're going to see what the liberal Democrat mainstream media is not telling you. Have you noticed how coordinated in order to steer the population? It's called, I would call it like basically some sort of visual propaganda, audio visual propaganda. And whether you watch MSNBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, you're going to find out that it's all coordinated. In fact, sometimes they even use the same exact words, same exact phrases. And you'll find that there's a media organization named Media Matters, Talk Progress, and everything else that's giving them talking points and what to say to the public. And then you'll have the politicians, the Democrat politicians, saying the exact same words, exact same phrases. And I like Rush and like Hannity because you'll find out what the talking points are because they're all saying the same exact things. That's what you call control media. We have a media that is a fascist government media without the fascist dictator. Literally, let me repeat that again. We have a fascist government dominant control media without its fascist government dictator. Yet they are positioning everyone to vote for such a leader, and it's going to come from the Democrat Party, as Reagan said. Reagan was absolutely right because we see fascism today coming through the Democrat Party with Antifa and everything else. This election is that important, everybody. I am stressing it like never before. I want everyone, the sound of my voice, to understand what I'm saying, that you could lose this good economy by voting Democrat. There are very radical people who not only want to impeach the president, but they want to bring back so many regulations. We'll be back into the Depression time again. And they're going to reverse every policy that Trump has engaged, and the Republicans have put forth. Now, you can't afford that. Think of your children. And there's a reason why I say think of. And they're going to live with the decisions that you vote in based on your emotions any longer. You can't afford to be bamboozled, led astray, hoodwinked, run amok. This, all you have in the Democrat Party and its media is imagery, delusion, and basically false narrative, false imageries. That's all you have. You never have a good argument. You never have solutions. You only have emotionalism. Oh, this is horrible. The world is going to end. Trump is responsible for hurricanes. You know, can you believe that? That's what's being posted in the Washington Post now. Oh, we got to blame all the hurricanes on Donald Trump and Republicans. What buffoonery is that? You know, how can Trump control a hurricane based on policies? It's ridiculous. It don't happen. You know, it does not happen that way. Hurricanes are natural events. In fact, the number of hurricanes intensity has decreased ever since the 1930s. Look it up yourself. Get the facts. I mean, if you have the facts, you pound the facts and promote the facts. If you have evidence, you support evidence, you promote evidence. But if you have neither, as Ted Cruz said, if you have neither, you just pound the table. And look at all the table pounding with Cory Booker, table pounding and everything else. All you have from Democrats are emotionalism. They don't think logically anymore. Why would you vote for a party like that, who you can't trust? They're a bunch of lies. Bunch of liars. All they want to do is deceive you and lead you astray. And all they want ultimately is power. In fact, Republicans want limited government. You think a person who wants limited government wants power? No, less power, more freedom for the people. More freedom for the people. That's what Republicans are for. Democrats will want, no, let's divide everybody based on race. Let's divide, okay, here are the gay people over here, the country people over here, the black people over here, the Latino people over here, and they divide everybody. They divide everybody, and ultimately, they want to control each and every one of those groups. Once they took over the civil rights movement, and that came from Bernie Sanders, his involvement with the civil rights movement, what Bernie Sanders did, he basically hijacked. You know, Bernie Sanders has been to Moscow, Russia over 50 times. He got married in Russia. You talk about Russia collusion, the biggest Russia collusion, his own campaign manager in his election was from Russia. He was a Russian operative, and the media doesn't want to talk about that. That's real Russia collusion right there. And in fact, Russia wanted Bernie Sanders to win because they were hoping he would win the election. They thought that, you know, Hillary Clinton would lose and everything because of all the corruption. And yet Bernie Sanders, shocked how corrupt Hillary Clinton was. So all those leaks were really for Bernie Sanders. Now, I've not heard any, even Sean Hannity, I've not even heard him talk about that. This is fresh off the page. This is just logic and reasoning and strategy. Russia wanted Bernie Sanders. They were working with Bernie Sanders for well over 50 years. And Bernie Sanders hijacked the civil rights movement after Martin Luther King was assassinated, Malcolm X was assassinated. Both of those blacks were Republicans. Then what happened? The Democrats began to take over the civil rights movement, and they began to redefine themselves as from being the part of the Ku Klux Klan. Oh, we're the part of the black people. Yeah, the part of the Indians. Yeah, the part. They separate people by race. You realize without racism, the Democrat Party would not exist. So why in the world are you still voting for them and funding that racist agenda? They devalue human life inside the womb. And if you devalue life inside the womb, you're going to ultimately devalue human life outside the womb. It's simple, basic logic. And you see them devaluing even Heather Heyer, this poor lady who defended the Democrats, who supported the Democrat leaders, who had a cause, who believed in something. She was not a racist by any means, but she supported the Democrat Party, all to find out that they sacrificed her just to create a false narrative against Donald Trump. How wicked and horrible could you think a party like that could be? That they would sacrifice their own people just to create a false narrative that said Republicans are racist, when Jason Kessler created all up until Hillary Clinton lost, and then he became a white supremacist and organized this rally. And the Democrats and your Democrat-controlled media are not even talking about it. Every time you hear Charlottesville, and all the racists in Charlottesville, think Democrat. Every time you think Ku Klux Klan, think Democrat. Because they're still the party of the Ku Klux Klan. In fact, the same form of government, as you'll see in the movie Death of a Nation, Dinesh D'Souza's movie, you'll see amazing. He brilliantly defined the Democrats' party. He defined the Black Lives Matter. He defined the white supremacists of Jason Kessler and Richard Spencer. And you realize they want the same exact government. You understand what I'm saying? Richard Spencer wants an authoritative government. The socialist progressives want authoritative government. They believe government control over everything, government control over healthcare. Both of them believe the same thing. Both of them want the same thing. The only difference is that the leftists in the Democrat Party are international fascists, and the Jason Kessler, Richard Spencer are basically domestic fascists. They both are fascists. Whether you voted for, or whether the group was Hitler or Stalin, Stalin was a international fascist. We voted for international fascism, and Hitler was a domestic fascist, like Mussolini. All of them took rights and freedoms from the people. All of them believed in government control over everything, every part of your life. So here you got the same thing, the same storyline going today. You've got the international fascists with George Soros. They're beholden to globalism. Have you heard that word before? Globalism, where whatever communist China and socialist Russia wants, whatever good for them is good for everyone else. So we need to stay lockstep in this global type of government and global economy. And then you have the domestic fascists, which is Richard Spencer. But here you on the other side, you have the constitutionalists, which is Donald Trump, which is all this constitutionalist judges that he's putting onto the Supreme Court, which is believing in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. That's what we believe as Republicans, always have and always will believe. But right now, the Democrat Party is different than what your mothers and fathers had voted for. It is time for a red wave. I don't want to hear about a blue wave. It's not going to happen. I believe if you all understand what I'm saying, if you all listen and decide this election to vote Republican, then you're gonna change the course of the history of America from going toward fascism to going toward a freedom beacon for the rest of the world to want to come to legally. You know what I'm saying? People want to come to this country. The reason why they want to come to it is because it's a beacon of freedom, economic freedom, and liberty. When you vote Democrat these days, you're going to vote for fascists. You're going to vote for making Russia great again, China great again. But, America's evil. You know, they want to push the propaganda that America's evil. No, it's not evil. Socialism is what's evil. Socialism is theft. It's theft of your property, theft of your freedom to speak, theft of your right to think for yourself. You're not even allowed to think for yourself. They're bullying you with political correctness. You see it all the time on campuses. I can't say that. I can't say what I believe because they want to shut you down. All right. So if you want a party that shuts you down, you go right ahead and vote for your socialism. But you're not going to like it too much because you're talking about if America becomes fascist under the socialists of the Democrat Party, then basically the whole world is done for because we're the last beacon of freedom on the planet and that can defend freedom. America is. If we fall, the whole world falls. And you talk about global economy, world government, that's what you have is communism. It's globalism. So you don't want that. You want to have your own individuality. You want to have states' rights. You don't want to be controlled by a tyrannical few judges. You want constitutionalists that will defend even the rights of the minority, even the rights of the few, because we're a nation of law and order. Of course, you see the Democrat Party, they're supporting Antifa, supporting the terrorists, supporting all these different groups, but except the American people. All right, so it's time for us to take a stand, folks. Let's take a stand and create a massive red wave that goes all the way from Hawaii all the way to Virginia, from Maine all the way down to Texas. Let's unite together. Unite Americans. Not unite the left or unite the right. Unite American people for freedom and vote Republican. Vote Republican. Vote Republican. As if your life depended on it, vote Republican. As if your family depended upon it, vote Republican. As if your economy depended upon it, vote Republican. As if the next generation depended upon it. Young people, vote Republican. Stand up against your terrorists, communists, fascist teachers who say, we hate Trump. Then tell that fascist teacher, you're a fascist and you're fake news. Tell your teacher how they're fake news for pushing their propaganda down your throats. You got to stand up in class and say, no, teacher, you're a fascist. You want globalism. And we love America too much. We love our Constitution. We love to see unity amongst blacks and whites. We don't want racial division pushed down our throats, which the Democrat Party has been pushing and separating groups and people, separating families and stuff. That's what the Democrat Party is. The Democrat Party is now a fascist party led by a communist who believes in fascism and international law, as well as Islamic Sharia law. This same Democrat leader of the Democrat Party, Tom Perez, believes that there should be Sharia law courts inside of America. I'm just spilling all the beans today. This has to go out. He supports Islamic Sharia. Here we defeated terrorism. We defeated terrorism in 9/11, only to find out that the Democrat leader of the Democrat Party supports some of the very same beliefs as Al-Qaeda, as ISIS, and as Barack Obama did in funding ISIS by giving them some of America's weapons. Did you all know that? Look it up yourself. You'll find it's the truth. All right, because they wanted to create another type of freedom fighters against Syria, so-called. But those freedom fighters, many of them were ISIS. Okay, so this is your Democrat Party today. Yep. Hollywood, yeah, without history and leftism ideology, Hollywood and Democrats couldn't control anything. That's exactly right. A person just wrote that to me. That without Hollywood and the media, the Democrat Party couldn't control anything. They are their talking heads. Everything. They faked this protest. They literally faked this white supremacy protest so that they can create the illusion that Republicans were white supremacy. And of course, as we said before, that was a fiction. And yet they'll never correct themselves. Have you noticed it? CNN will never correct themselves. MSNBC will never. It's all about deception, 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 and hyping people up who are halfway fragile, who have Trump derangement syndrome. These people are out. There are examples of many people today killed Republicans, whites and blacks, because blacks were Republican back in those days. And there was a Ku Klux Klan. You have those with Trump derangement. Trump so much they're frazzled. They have weak minds. And yet you have a Democrat Party that's hyping these people up. They literally are hyping them up to create acts of violence intentionally. That's what you call a threat to the nation. And this is why all America, I'm asking you today, it's time to change the way you think and change the way you vote. Vote Republican, vote Republican, vote Republican, and let the red wave begin all across this nation. Thank you, and God bless America.